Good evening, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me. Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, yes. Good evening.
All right, good evening. Thanks, Tosin. Um,
Yeah, we can hear you.
okay, great. Welcome to your first class.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. Thanks, Usman. I'm waiting the facilitator to join the call and then hand him over and I'll hand the class over to him. Um, Like we previously mentioned, the class is mandatory except for the people that requested to be exempted. So I'm just waiting for, let me remind him again. I'm just waiting for the tutor and we'll get started. While we await him joining, how has your day been? Hello.
Hi, good evening, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Henry.
Good evening, Miss Henry.
Yes, yes. I
My day has been good. Majorly it has been work. I'm actually just getting on work now, so yeah, it's just been work. Yeah, thank you.
okay. Thanks for sharing. I'm trying to reach out to Shooks. Please, Henry, drop a reminder in the channel that the call has started. Give me a minute to try to call Shooks. We're expecting a lot more people. We're just 17 on the call for now. I'm expecting a lot more people. So, okay. All right, Chooks, I can see you on the call now. Can you unmute?
Hi, Demel. Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, everyone.
Okay, I'm making you the host now, so you should be able to share screen and do what you need to.
All right, that's thanks.
All right, so over to you.
I think we'll just wait for a few more people to join in before we can start.
All right, Trooks, I think we can get started. We're 5 minutes in. Before I hand over finally to your tutor, I just want to let you know that we're taking attendance for each class. Like I said, and I've said repeatedly, it's expected that everyone who did not take exemption should be in this class. So please expect the attendance. Your group leader, your team lead will drop an attendance, I'm guessing, or he's going to inform you more about the attendance towards the end of the class. But let's pay attention, let's mark our attendance and enjoy the training. Over to you, Sir Chooks. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Deme. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If you can hear me, please let me
Good
know.
evening. Good evening.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
All right, then.
I hear you.
Good evening.
I can see some experienced hands there. Sarah, well done.
Good evening, Oga Troops.
I greet you. All right, so as we all know, my name is Trix Ojigo. You can call me Chico from Naya Ojigo, but Trix for short. And I'll be taking you through this time in the foundations of software testing fundamentals. I can only say if you would have said good evening on the chat. If you can't speak, you can chat. If where you are is busy, you can always say something on the chat. It's going to be interactive, so please ensure you ask as many questions as you can and as you want, but please ask coordinatedly. Let me use that word. Well, asking. Okay, so we just go straight to what we have for the day. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, please? Okay. Thank you. All right, so we'll be talking about the fundamentals of software testing. And for us to go through software testing, there's a popular quote that if your foundation is fine, your building will stand strong, and then it will stand for a very long while. Except you want to change the design of the building, then you need to change the foundation of the building. So software testing, we are going to be looking at 8 topics for 2 weeks, from Thursday to Sunday this week, Thursday to Sunday the next week. First, we're going to be starting with the principles of software testing. Next, we are going to be looking at the types of software testing. The third one we're going to be looking at are the test processes. After which we look at test levels, after which we look at testing techniques. Next will be the test plan. Next, test cases. And then we are going to be wrapping up with requirement traceability metrics. I would want to rush a bit. If I do, it's because I want us to have hands-on, especially when it comes to number 7. I tell those I train, if you can write your test cases properly, 50% of your job is done as a tester. If you can write your test case properly, 50% of your job is done. So let's kick into it. let's get right into it. Principles of software testing. First of all, we need to ask ourselves, what is testing? What is testing? I should have done a slide to have been able to access our knowledge on what testing is, but it's fine. So what is testing? Testing is the action or the process of checking someone or something. When you are checking out someone or you are checking out something, you are doing what we call testing. If you notice here, what we are looking at is testing. That's why the dictionary definition says checking someone or something. Note it's an action or it's a process. So we can summarize that testing is the action of checking on someone or is the process of checking something. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are together.
Yes, we
Can't see to see my face.
Yes, we are together.
Okay, that's good. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, of course.
Yes, we can.
What can you see on my screen?
What is testing? The action or process of checking someone or something.
Okay, thank you. All right. My screen is flickering. I don't know. Give me a minute. This screen is not responding the way I want it to. All right. Can you still see my screen, please?
Yes,
Hello?
we
No,
can.
it's
Yes,
just
we
coming
can.
now.
Okay, so we have defined testing as the process or the action of checking on someone or something. Now we need to narrow it down to a particular field, and we are talking about softwares. So we are going to be looking at the definition of software testing. Software testing is a set of activities. Note the word set of activities. To discover defects, note the word defects, and evaluate the quality of software artifacts. Now notice the word artifacts also. So I'll go back to the beginning of the definition, and then I'll pick out the major words I will explain. A set of activities. In software testing, just checking the product is not what software testing is all about. So I say, okay, David, this is a software. Go and test it. David comes to the software and checks if all the functions are working. That is not what software testing is all about. Software testing is a set. Please note the word set. Set of activities. There are a series of activities. When a software is given to you, the first thing you should do is not to start testing. The first thing to do is ask questions. Questions like, where is the BRD? PRD or PRD, as some people may call it, or some people may just call it user stories, right? Your first question is, where is the user story? Your first question could also be, depending on where you are working, where is the BRD? The BRD is called the Business Requirement Document, or the PRD. Some people call it the Product Requirement Document. So as I said previously, the first thing you should do when testing a product is not to just start testing it. You have to go through a set of activities. And one of the first set of activities you should go through is asking questions for the artifacts that are required in order for you to understand what you are testing before you start testing. So I said it's a set of activities which we will still see later on in the course to discover defects. Now, to discover defects, just a quick caveat, defects is known as bug to developers. I'll repeat that. Defect is known as bugs to developers. A tester calls it a defect. A developer calls it a bug. Any question thus far? Any question thus
No,
far?
sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, with you, sir.
Okay. If you can't talk, you can also chat. All right. I see a lot of my guys here. David Lade, it's good to see you. All right, so I said before, testers call it defects, while developers call it a bug. So your job as a tester, one of the activities is to discover defects. One of the activities you also check out is to evaluate the quality. Now, quick one here, quality is not the sole responsibility of the tester. I'll repeat that. Quality is not the sole responsibility of the tester. Quality is the responsibility of every stakeholder. The reason being that every and anyone involved in the project or in the product is able to discover a defect. Anyone who is part of the product is also able to discover a defect, meaning everybody in quotes is a tester. Notice the word I said in quotes, because testing is more of a mindset than any other thing. How you get to understand that better. So quality is made. Okay, so let me ask this question to anyone who is bold enough to answer. What is quality? You can answer in the chat box. What is quality? If you want to unmute and speak, that's fine. What do you understand by the word quality, especially as it relates to software? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so anybody answering the question quality, you can answer in your layman terms. You can
So I don't know
answer.
if I can try.
Go ahead, please. There's no
So
right or wrong answer. So there's always the right answer. Go ahead.
my name is David.
All right, David, go ahead, please.
So quality in software is just how well a product meets the need and the expectation of the user.
Of the user. All right.
Yes.
Thank you,
The
David.
user.
Any other person?
Yeah, let me try Philip here.
Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Philip.
From my own understanding, quality means how well a product is or perform that meets the users or stakeholders requirements.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Is that the Philip?
Yes, really on the
Okay, okay, it's good to see you again. All right, so I like Philip's definition of quality. Quality meets the requirement of both the stakeholders and the users. One of the reasons why it should be that is the product is not going to be used solely by the stakeholders. A software is said to be quality when it meets the PRD, meets its intended purpose while satisfying its users. Henry, it's good to see you. All right, so quality must be between satisfying what the business wants and what the users also want. So let me give you an example. Let's say the stakeholders want that when you click the microphone, right, it should show an X. It should show a cross sign. And that when it shows that cross sign, it means you are able to speak. When you click it again, the cross sign will go off, meaning you are now muted. So I'll ask this question. With the standard of what a microphone looks like that we understand throughout other products, do you think this meets the user's requirements just based on what we know about when you mute and unmute your microphone? Anybody can answer.
Sorry, please, can you come with the analysis again about the product?
Okay, so the product is this. There's a microphone. You know on Zoom, there's a microphone, right?
Is.
Now, when you click it and then there's a red stroke, it means you cannot speak. You are muted, right?
Yes.
But now the product or the stakeholders now say, because we are stakeholders, when you click it and then it shows that stroke, it now means you are muted. When you click it and the stroke goes away, it means you are muted. From popular opinion of what we know microphone signs to be, is it beautiful to this?
No, it's not.
Okay, so that's why you don't only allow it to meet the business requirements. It also has to meet the user's requirements. When we get to test case writing, I would explain to you the 3 levels we need to think on in order to be good testers. All right, I think I've dwelled too long on this. Okay, so software artifacts. I'll dwell a bit on this. I'll just give a few. Artifacts are simply documents that are used during the project in producing the product. I'll repeat that. Artifacts are simply documents which are used during the project in order to produce the product. For example, when the stakeholders come together and then they start to plan what the product will look like, and then they put it down on pen and on paper, that thought process that is penned down on paper is an artifact of that product. When they are finished brainstorming, they now put it into a business requirement document, which explains how the product will function. That is also an artifact. The BRD now becomes an artifact. I'll give you the last one and I'll give you my first assignment. Another artifact is your test case document. Notice I did not say your test case design document. Your test cases is an artifact. So my first assignment is give me minus the 3 I have mentioned thus far, the stakeholders mind mapping, the BRD, and your test cases that you have written. Give me 5 other artifacts that are used. 5 is small. Let's make it 7, a perfect number. Give me 7 artifacts that are used in software development. Actually, everything is software. Don't write it here. It's assignment. Everybody, you will get there. Okay. Don't write it here. It's take home assignment. Submit it to Henry. Henry will send it to me. Are we together?
Yes.
Are we together? Okay, I'm seeing a question in the chat. What's the difference between artifact and test basis? Your test basis is why are you testing? The way my Oga taught me is the basis of your test. Example, I'm answering Olaleko now. The basis of your test, what you want to test is your test basis. Let's say you want to test send money from Olaleko to Faith, right? The basis of that test is to ensure that you can send money from Olaleko to Faith. Boyinde, I will come back to you. Olaleko, do you get it? Olaleko. Okay. So your test case, right, is an artifact. Give me 7 different artifacts. Okay. Henry, please help me write out the questions. The question on the chat box while I answer Olaleko. Olaleko, if you can unmute it to be better. But if you can't, just don't bother. So your artifacts are all the documents that are required to be able to test your product. Please, if you get that link, let me know. Just say okay on the chat box, or if you can unmute, beautiful. Okay, so you now get what an artifact is. The documents which you use to test is called your artifacts. The business requirement document is not written by a tester. It is written by the stakeholders, and that is an artifact. You want to bring out another one from my mouth. I will not say it. Now, your test basis is send money is, okay, let me use it this way. Send money is what you want to test. Send money from Olaleko to Henry. The basis of your test, right, is, Ibrahim, hang on. The basis of your test is that you should be able to send money from Olaleko to Henry. That is why you are testing. Henry, do you get? Sorry, Olaleko, do you get? Olaleko. Zalale can stay here. Okay. Alaleka, if you get it, let me know. If you do not get it, then we'll see later. Ibrahim, your hands are raised. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I was
Ibrahim
like, hope
Daoud.
this. Yeah, I wanted to ask if this slide will be shared with us after the class.
After the whole class is yes, I can share it.
Okay, thank you. Wow, you're enjoying it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you. You can put your hand down. Alaleko, okay, does that mean we should take the test basis literally for it? When you say literally, do you mean using the example I gave that you should be able to send money from point A to point B? Is that what you mean, Alaleko? Alaleko, give me a chat later on Slack. We'll solve your issue there so that we don't stay too long here. Okay, so these artifacts are being tested and they're also known as our test objects. Yes. Alaleko, yes. Are you fine? Okay, thank you. So software testing, I'm still defining software testing. Software testing involves two things. It involves validating and verifying the software product. Please give me a minute. All right, so thank you. Software testing involves verification and validation of your software product. No problems, Lekon. I'm still for you. So when we talk about verification, what it means is you are checking whether the system meets specified requirements. And we also said it involves validation, which means the system meets the users and other stakeholders' needs in its operational environment. I would explain further. Whether the system meets, okay, Udeme, you're raising your hand.
Yes, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to
Right.
mention something quickly. At the start of the class, we had asked if there was anyone with zero experience in software testing. I think there was one hand up. I just wanted to I'm looking for the hands. Okay, there are two hands up, Ogunleye Sarah and Obi Benjamin. So I was thinking it would be helpful if just to use them as a yardstick for understanding. That's what I usually do for my classes. So people who have no experience, if at the end of the class, they are able to understand, assimilate, and explain the concepts of the class, then you know you've done a great job. Because if someone with no experience can grab and get everything and understand it, means every other, they are like the benchmark. So I just wanted to quickly mention that so that you can also engage these three people when you ask questions, just to be sure that they understand, right? That's what I wanted to quickly mention. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. All right, thank you, Deme. Can I get their names again?
Okay, their names are Ogunleye Sarah Omotola, and Obi Benjamin.
Ogunleye Sarah. Ogunleye Sarah, who again?
Omotola, then Obi Benjamin.
Omotola,
Ogunleye Sarah Omotola. The second person is Obi Benjamin.
Benjamin. All right.
Sorry, Udemy, there's some people dropping their names on the, what's it called, on the chat box. So I don't know, maybe you can check through as well.
Oh, okay, great. So, you can also ask any of them. I see, Deborah. I don't want to murder your surname. So let me
Shoyombo.
stop. Yes, Shoyombo. I don't know if Fatima is saying she too, she's new. So at least you have 5 names. So the two I gave earlier, Deborah and Fatima. Yeah, so you can check with those 4 and just use them as yardsticks to be sure everybody understands. Everyone can participate though. I'm not saying everyone should keep quiet and leave only 4 of them. Charles also mentioned he's new. So over to you, Chooks. I'm sorry. Please.
All right, thank you. Okay, so just to gauge that, there are plenty new people here. Who is laughing at Charles? Does it mean that Charles is not new?
Chooks, please just hold on a minute. So I think what's going to happen is that everybody that is new, just drop your name, like your full name on the chat box, so Chooks can identify you guys by your name. So instead of saying I'm new too, I'm a newbie, write your full name on the chat box so that he can easily identify you guys. All right, Chooks, continue.
Let them send it to, so send it to me personally. You know, when you are sending a message, you can pick out my name. If you are seeing my screen, you can pick out my name and then send it to me personally. Like I can send Henry a personal message. Only Henry will be able to see it. Everybody in the chat box can see it. Thank you. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so Obi Benjamin, let me start with you. You've been in the class since I started, right? If you can't talk, you can type, although I would have loved you to actually speak up. Okay, thank you. So, what do you, oh no, I'm still doing that. Let's go ahead. Don't worry, I'll do that later on. Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, software testing involves verification and validation of a software that is being produced. When we talk about verification, we're talking about if the software meets the specified requirements system-wise. When we talk about validation, it means if the system meets the users and other stakeholders' needs. What do we mean by whether the system meets specified requirements? Example, I want to write an app and I want to write it on iOS or an iPhone, any of the two, the one you understand. I want to write it on iOS or iPhone. Then I give it to Henry as a developer. Henry says, oh, I can do that, I can do that. And Henry went ahead to write it on Android. Quick question, does it meet the system requirements? Quick question. Thank you, Obi.
No, it doesn't.
Thank you. Thank you. So you must always put that into cognizance that what is built. I remember one of the projects I worked in one of the banks. The developers were developing, and then after 6 months, they now called us in as testers. At our first question, the developers found out that they have wasted 6 months of development. So as a tester, you must know what the system requirement is. When you want to buy a flash drive, you need a 32 gig RAM flash drive. And then you send somebody to go and buy a flash drive for you. The person goes to buy you a 4 gig RAM, a 4 gig flash drive. When the person comes back to you, did the person meet your system requirements? Okay, thank you. So you as a tester, you must always ask for the system requirements. So you don't join the train of those who don't know what they are doing. Let me use that word. So you must always ask for system requirements. Probably you don't. Let me explain what system requirements is. It's supposed to be built on iOS. Then it should be built on iOS. You will check, first of all, the product, is it built on iOS? That's one. On the iOS, should it work on iOS 16 and should it not work on iOS 6? That is system requirement. The product, should it be green in color or should it be white in color? Just using system requirements to explain, right? Those are the requirements based on the system. Based on the system. You cannot pick a Windows software and install it on a Mac system, except to do some of those other things you can do on those softwares. But do we understand what I mean by meets system requirements? If you can unmute, fine. If you can speak, fine. Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Nusman. Thank you, Guleye, Sarah. Thank you, Abel. If you can speak, thank you, Ajiseri. Miriam, he said no. Okay, thank you, Rama. Thank you, Parkinson. Thank you, Boyinde. Miriam, can you explain further what you didn't get? Let me quickly address you before we go on. Hello, Miriam. No, sir, you don't understand what system requirement is. Is that what you mean, Miriam? Hello, Miriam. Okay, I think Miriam, chat me on Slack. You can chat me on Slack and then we'll get to understand ourselves better. Thank you. Okay, so it means the system requirements, iOS should be built for iOS, Android should be built for Android, or built on Android, Windows should be built on Windows, Mac should be built on Mac, Linux should be built on Linux. That's what it means, meeting the system requirements. The next part of it is meeting the users and stakeholders requirements. If the stakeholders say we want to send money from Miriam to Ibrahim, then the money must leave Miriam's account, deduct the amount removed, and be credited to Ibrahim's account, increased by money gotten or sent. I think that's simple enough. Yes. Abel, yes. That's about validation. You're not validating that what was built is actually what it is. Okay, thank you. All right, so we can proceed. The benefits of software testing. Why do you test? What's your use as a tester? It's a pity that most people don't understand the use of testers. It's a pity, but it is what it is in the industry, and then gradually things are changing. One of the benefits of software testing, or why you are satisfaction. If you are using an app and it's very difficult to use, you yourself, you throw that app away. Most times, you don't care the value it brings. Most times, you don't care. In as much as it's hard for you to use, you don't care. You just drop it, and then that's done. Benefits of software testing, customer satisfaction. That means your job as a tester is to ensure that the customer is satisfied with the product that the business is offering. This simply means you must test like the end user. I'll repeat that. When we get to test case, I will break down the mindset that you need to have as a software tester. But just note that you must test as an end user. One of the mindsets you must have is the mindset of a customer. The benefit of software testing is also it gives you reliable products. You know that, okay, this system or this product has been checked. It has been scrutinized. It doesn't only meet the stakeholders' requirements, it also meets the policies, because there are policies, there are SLAs that, let's say CBN, for instance, says for you to be a KYC1 customer, you must submit your BVN. So testing ensures that you have the reliable product that meets all, almost all, let me not say all, almost all. Early defect detection. There's something called shift left. It's newly introduced, although it has been existing for a while. Shift left is the approach that simply means the tester is involved from the mind mapping stage. Note where I said the tester is involved from the mind mapping stage. That is before ever the BLD is written. The tester is already involved. That's the shift left approach, early involvement of testers or other stakeholders that will help produce a good and quality product. That's what shift left is. So in shift left, early defect detection is also a benefit of software testing. It speeds up the development process. Just like the example I gave, that after 6 months from the words. Rahama, sorry, can you elaborate? If you can unmute to be fine. Sani. Okay, from the mind mapping, thank you. Thank you. That's the ship, Parkinson, thank you. The tester is involved from the mind mapping stage. That is to say, when they are thinking of the product. That's the shift left approach. And in that place, you can see early defect detection. Now, the next benefit, there are other benefits. So my assignment 2 is, aside the benefits that you are seeing on the screen, customer satisfaction, reliable products, early defect detection, speeds up the development process, security and cost effectiveness. Give me 3 extra 3 extra. Henry, are you there? Hello, Henry.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Another assignment. Give me 3 benefits of software testing aside these ones I've outlined. So it speeds up the development process. When you start early, you remove the ambiguities or the bottlenecks early enough. So you don't start what you should have not started in the first place. So it helps to speed up the development process. Security, it gives you security, and then cost effectiveness. The example I gave of the bank I was called in to actually test after 6 months of development. And then the first thing we found out was the user requirement was not even understood from the first instance. So you see that 6 months of development have been wasted. That's one. 6 months time has been wasted. 6 months worth of effort has been wasted. Now, let me tell you the truth. They paid the developers for those 6 months. So 6 months worth of money, and you know developers don't collect 200,000. Well, kind of, Abel, kind of, but it's just help. A developer that is wise will know that you are not their enemy. You are just helping them to see the benefit of software testing. Number 4, which is to speed up the development process. Just to quickly chip this in, when you are reporting what you find during your validation or verification, please, communication is key. I'll repeat that, communication is key. Don't just go to developer, is your head not correct? This thing is not supposed to be like this. In the PID, they say it should not be like this. Please, be wise. Communicate appropriately. If you don't communicate well, you become an enemy. We are all out to achieve the same purpose of churning out a software product. So if the software developer is losing, the truth of the matter is you are losing also. As a matter of fact, just to give you an heads up, probably you lose more. I'll just give you a quick example. I was on a project recently, and then they had to terminate my contract last month. And they said, when next we need you to continue testing, we will call you. They did not terminate the developers because they still need them to develop the software. So don't shoot yourself in the leg, right? By communicating wrongly. Find the best way to communicate. Any questions? Any questions from especially the new people? Okay, Dauda, go ahead, please.
So, so does it mean that, for example, when we're about to like develop a new, does it mean that from the get-go, a software tester needs to be like in the planning and like from generating the user story, like the whole development process? Does it mean that it's from the early stage that a software tester needs to be brought on board, or the product? At what stage does a software tester come into the product?
Okay, a wise company will bring in the software tester from the beginning, the planning stage. Did you hear what I just said, Ibrahim?
Yes.
A wise company will bring in a software tester from the get-go.
Okay.
Because there's a way. Okay, so developers, what they think about is let it work.
Mm.
So they don't think about what if I use this parameter to enter, would it still work?
Okay.
What business thinks about is profit majorly. Notice the word I use, majorly. So their mind is not, they are not interested in the technicalities of it. Right?
Yes.
So, but the software tester at the beginning is already thinking, if they say we should use email to do send money, I can go and form any email. Oh. That means I can cause a loophole in this product just by having any email, and then I'll just be eating people's money. So the software tester will raise some questions. How do we verify that this person's email is the accurate email that I'm going to send this money to? How do I verify that the money sent is not intercepted? Because we know that we can intercept emails. So at the thinking stage, that's what we call early defect detection. You're already thinking abroad. You're already thinking far and wide, which the product owner or most stakeholders might not think about. Do you understand?
Yes.
Abel, any question, opinion for swift lecture and interruption? Okay, should be noted down to after the class. Thank you. Okay. Oh. Okay, so I'm done with benefits of software testing. Don't worry, we still have like 2 weeks. My slides are about 20-something, 30-something, so I think we should be good. Okay, so my next slide talks about any question on the benefits of software testing. Anybody? Abel, the newbies, Abel, Shoyombo, Usman. Charles, Fatima, Obi, any question? Usman, do you have any question? Fatima. Okay, since no question, let me ask a question. I'm going to be asking Charles. Charles, what do you understand by cost effectiveness as a benefit of software testing? Charles, let me direct that question to you. What do you understand by cost effectiveness as a benefit of software testing? You can unmute.
All right, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Charles.
The benefit of cost effectiveness in terms of software testing. So basically, first of all, it gives insight on issue of early detection. So you won't have to, or the developers or the company itself will not have to like spend extra resources trying to solve an issue they should have thought about from earlier on. Now, how do I explain this?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Thank you. I like the word you use, resources, because when we talk of cost, people only think about money. It's not only money. The word resources, the manpower, the time is a resource. Probably they will buy lunch for them. It's also a resource and all that. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. So we'll go ahead. Next, we'll be talking about, what's the time? Okay, so we still have an hour. Okay, next we'll be talking about the principles of software testing. The principles of software testing. Alalikon, that is dependent on the company. If the company understands the worth of the tester, but just a blank answer, a short answer is dependent on the company. Does that answer your question? Alalikon, we'll see you later. But I think I've answered your question. Okay, so there are 7 testing principles, and I'm using the ISTQB as my yardstick of teaching. ISTQB is the International Software Testing Qualification Board across the world. Olalekon, simply put, it is dependent on the company. Okay, so the first software testing principle as outlined by ISTQB, which is the standard I believe everyone should follow, is okay, so something comes to mind which I didn't actually plan, but I think it's something I should show us all due to this. So give me a minute. Let me quickly just digress a bit. Who is annotating on my board? I'm looking for something. So this is the ISTQB site, but I'm looking for a tree. Hang on. Sorry, excuse me. Someone needed my attention. Okay, so I'm looking for a tree. Where's my tree? Where's my tree? Okay, I think the tree has been changed. Where's my tree? My tree is changed. Oh, I can't find what I'm looking for. But okay, I'll just use this to explain, right? In your ISTQB, the career path, permit me to go off what I actually planned. Your career path is either a core foundation, your core advanced, the specialist, or expert level. There's a better tree that actually shows this, but I can't find it. I think there's an update on the site. For every beginner, you must start with the tester foundation level. Whether you want to be an automated tester or you want to be a game tester, whether you want to be, thank you, whether you want to be thank you, Parkinson. I think this is what I was looking for. Yeah, so can I maximize it here? So this is the tester's career path. Every tester starts out at foundation level. Every tester starts out at foundation level. Foundation level is what you are listening, what we are taking you through at this point. After foundation level, then you can now choose any of the 3 places you want to specialize in, or you can still specialize in everything if you have the mind. So I'm not restricting you. But if you want to be a usability tester, you must first of all be a certified foundational tester. Now, quick caveat. Some people say you can quickly start doing automation once you just start testing. Please, let me look for a sledgehammer and break that thought out of your head, out of your mind, out of your destiny, out of your consciousness. You can't jump to be an automated tester as soon as you become a tester. You must first be a manual tester. You must, I'll repeat that, first be a manual tester. So I just opened this up for you to see the different career paths in software testing. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Abel, any question?
I have a question.
Charles,
I have a question.
go ahead, please. Adebisi, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. So my question is, that from the quote you just gave now, what if the person did not get an opportunity to do that manual testing on real life project? What do you want the person to do? Because most
it will show the automation.
But most offer out there, what if you many of them they will be mentioning automation. Here we have a new tester. What do you want the person to do? If everything you are seeing out there is they're asking automation with your manual background, and I'm carrying this. So please excuse me. So and I'm carrying this consciousness that I just started this testing career. I need to do manual before I delve into automation. And everything you are seeing out there, they keep on mentioning automation. What do you want the person to do?
Okay, so let me answer the question this way. HRs in Nigeria, or most HRs, don't understand the difference between a manual tester and an automated tester. That's one. The truth of the matter now, in Nigeria as we are, most companies are not ready for automated testing. The bank I was invited to, the branches they have in Nigeria, I was ashamed to say that they are not ready for automated testing. But what they called us to come and do was automated testing. And then we collected their money for automated testing. But we could not automate anything because they didn't even have the manual process in the first place. Adebisi, so what I advise people is apply for the job. When you apply for the job, tell them what you can do. Because most times, Udemy, are you still on the call?
Yes,
Hello,
I'm
Udemy.
here. I'm here,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
I stepped out a bit. I'm here now.
Okay, so Udemy, did you hear his question?
No, I did not. I just stepped back in.
Okay, so his question is that most jobs out there require or request for automated testers.
Okay.
And he is new as a manual tester, sef,
Okay.
but the job require automation.
Okay.
So I was asking, can you throw a little bit light for him? Because
On
what I
what
told
if
him
you
is
do?
most companies, come in.
Yeah, please go on, go on.
So what I told him is some of the companies that throw these things out, their HRs just throwing something there. Most HRs don't even understand the difference between an automated and a manual tester. Most HRs don't even know the need of the company, or they just need, they need a tester. Go to the internet, download JD, put it there. So from your experience, I don't know if you can help out on that for him.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So it's a common dilemma for, especially for people who are new. New not just to software testing, but to different tech careers, right? Data science and everything. What I would advise you to do is, yes, understand the basics of software testing. Be great at manual testing, but don't end there, right? Master manual testing, because every great software tester is an excellent manual tester. It's in manual testing that you do critical thinking and analysis. That's the bedrock for anything you would be building in your automation. If you are not a critical thinker, if you are not able to draft out use cases for scenarios that could not be thought of by the team members, and to picture your customers' unique scenarios, though all those things come with your ability to be an excellent manual tester. So being acing and excelling in manual testing is a must for you to be a successful tester. Automation is you building on the strength of your manual testing, the strength of your critical thinking, analysis, and all of that. That's where automation is like the manual testing, and your ability to do that is the foundation. You build on it with automation. So to directly answer your question, yes, master manual testing, right? Be great at it. But also, because of the way times are changing, and even in 2025, there's a lot of prediction as to how AI is going to be taking mid-level roles and all of that. Last year, AI took entry-level roles. Now AI is going for mid-level roles. There's a lot of conversation you'll be seeing around that. Why am I saying you should move a step ahead? Is because of this. The times and the technology is changing. You can start off with no code tools like Test Sigma, tools that don't require coding. You could also start with understanding automation even in API level. You may not get into web testing using Selenium, Cypress, or Playwright or the others, but if you are able to ace API testing, API automation, you can say you can automate. APIs. You can, if you are asked a question, you say, I have not worked extensively with X2, maybe Cypress for web automation, but I know how to automate APIs. And then you give them an end-to-end flow for that. That shows the interviewer that, oh, okay, he may not know the stack we are currently working on, but from his explanation of the one he knows, I see prospect. I see that this person is going to be teachable. This person is going to adapt fast, and you will get the job by that. So it's not just okay to say, I don't know automation. Make an effort to know a part of it so that that part that you know, the little you know, is what will get your foot in the door for the interview, right? So that's how I would answer the question. And this training after FST, you're going to go into API testing. You would at least at the end of that class be able to say, I know beyond just doing functional manual tests and all of that, I can automate APIs and you can explain the process. The truth is, if you're able to get into the interview, most of the time is your confidence, even when you don't know the answer to the question, is your confidence in answering the part that you know that most of the time gives you the leverage. I have seen it, and I have also been in interview rooms. So directly answer your question, I know I've spoken for too long. To directly answer your question, it's great to sharpen your manual testing skills,
Thank you.
explore it, but also try to take it a step ahead, right? And be confident. Be confident in your CV, even in your CV. Don't just say manual. I saw a CV last week and the person kept repeating manual in like 5 to 6 places in the CV. And I'm like, why are you boxing yourself? Why are you are the one who is shooting yourself in the foot? Don't write manual API testing or manual function. Just write functional testing. Just write API testing. Just write it. Don't shortchange yourself even before you get the opportunity to enter an interview room, right? So that's where I'll leave it.
All right, thank you, Deme. DBC, I believe your question is answered.
Fully answered.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So can now proceed. Where's my screen? Okay, so back to so we are at principles of software testing. So the first principle is testing shows the presence and not the absence of defects. Testing shows the presence and not the absence of defects. What it simply means is that there's no product on planet Earth today that does not have a defect. So you cannot say that I've tested this product, so there's no defect inside. It's a lie. If I handle the product, I might see what you did not see. If Udeme handles the product, Udeme might see what I did not see. If Henry handles the product, Henry might see what Udeme did not see. So your testing only shows the presence and not the absence of defects. Is that gotten? The second one is exhaustive testing is impossible. Now, because Shuk said that if Henry tests and then Shuk handles it, he might see a defect that Henry did not see. If Udeme handles what Shuk handled, Udeme might see what Shuk did not see. Then, like that, it means that product will never go live. That's why the second principle of testing is that exhausting testing is impossible. So what do? You ensure that critical defects are not allowed to go into beta nor production environment. I'll repeat that. You ensure that critical defects, the example of a critical defect, an example of a critical defect would be, I want to send money to Henry, but Ibrahim is getting it. That product, only God knows how much the company will pay for such damages. So exhaustive testing is impossible. Just ensure that critical defects do not make it to the live environment. Early testing saves time and money. I've explained that previously when I was talking about the benefits of software testing. Defects cluster together. I will explain this with an example. Somebody is married, right? And then on the day he's about to develop a particular part of the software, his child fell sick. And then the company gave him a timeline which should end that day. And if he doesn't meet that deadline, then he will be sacked. Please, if you are hearing me, let me know.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay, so if he doesn't meet that deadline, he will be sacked. Meanwhile, his child is not feeling fine, almost to the, let's say, the level of death. But he must meet that timeline in order for him to keep the job, to keep the family going. So he rushes his job. He just does one, two, to just ensure that he meets the timeline and he sends it to the stakeholders. That's the first scenario. The second scenario is that that same guy, they gave him a timeline and then he was in a very relaxed environment with AC blowing his head. He was thinking very well. Of these two scenarios, which one do you think will have more defects? Anybody? It's an open-ended question.
The first
Abel.
scenario.
The first scenario, okay. Abel or Deborah, any of you can answer.
The first scenario.
The first scenario. Sarah.
The first scenario.
Okay. So quick question, Obi. What's your answer? Okay, yeah, somebody's giving me a good answer. Aji said, Jiri, sorry for that. The second scenario, why do you think it will have more defects? Obi, be prepared to answer the number one. Why do you think the second scenario will have more defects as compared to the first one? He's calm and he can reason well. Does that make defects more or less? Apayemi, okay, I think I can see your full name. Does it make the defects less or more? Yeah, that's why I'm asking the question. Apayemi, okay, so while you are thinking about it, Obi, the first or the second scenario, which would have more defects? He will detect more defects in the project. Okay, but less. Sorry, I didn't get the question. Network issues. Okay. All right, so just to ride on what Apayemi is saying, the first scenario, Obi, is also for you to take into cognizance. The first scenario, he has his child almost dying, but he has a deadline that will give him money to take care of that child. So he rushes the project just to ensure he delivers and gets his money to be able to take that child to the hospital. The second one is in a relaxed environment, and then he can take his time to think and then also meet the deadline. So of the two, which one do you think will have more defects? The first scenario, Obi, or the second scenario?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think the first scenario would actually be have more defects because it's not balanced, it's not coordinated. But the second scenario, the person has like a lot more time to do the testing that he has to do. He's not on a deadline and it's calm, it's in a cool environment. So I think the first scenario has more defects than
Okay, thank you. So this, I used it to explain defects clustered together. In the whole app, where you will get more defects is when he, as a developer, was not well settled. So if you check send money, if you see login, if you see buy airtime, if you see pay bill, right? And then send money is when he was not feeling too relaxed. Most of his defects, most of that, the defects in that app will be around send money. That's why that testing principle says defects cluster together. The fifth one is was previously called pesticide paradox. But in 4.0, which is the upgraded version, ISC-QB now says it is test wear out, which means if you keep using the same test case with the same test technique, you will never get a new defect in as much as the system is not touched. If you use the same test case, the same test technique on the same product which has not been touched, if you like, run it from now till when Jesus comes, it will never give you a defect. Let me use another example. If you are using an insecticide, right? Let's say Fleet, Baygon, Rambo, or any of those insecticides. It gets to a point, the mosquitoes don't die again when you spray those insecticides. True or false? True or false? Please, quick answer.
True, it's true.
So the same way during testing, if you use the same test case, use the same test technique on the same product, you might or will never, thank you, the mosquitoes have built resistance to the insecticide. So your test case, your test technique, if you are using the same thing, you will never get a new defect. That's why the testing principle number 5 says test wear out. In order for your test not to wear out or for you to overcome pesticide paradox, you should think new test cases, new test techniques. Furthermore, we'll get to learn about test techniques as we proceed in the course. So you can decide to find a new angle, find a new test technique. I want to end on this. Number 6, testing is context dependent. What does it mean to be context dependent? The way I will test a pharmaceutical app is not the same way I will test an e-commerce app. It's not the same way I will test a cryptocurrency app. It's not the same way I will test a banking app. So testing is context dependent. A game user will not test a banking app, or rather a game tester will not test a banking app the same way it tests a game. Sarah, do you understand what I just said? Hello, Sarah. Abel, Deborah, Obi, do you understand what I meant by that? Usman Abdurrashid, okay. So testing is context dependent. You don't use the test cases you use for a mobile banking app on a pharmaceutical. Oh, okay. Okay, Fatima, you listen to the recording. You don't use the test cases you use for a banking app on a cryptocurrency app. You don't use the test cases you use on a cryptocurrency app on a pharmaceutical app. That's why we say testing is context dependent. And the last one for the night, absence of defects fallacy. It's tied to number one. There is no software in the world that does not have a defect. There is no software in the world that does not have a defect. I'll repeat, there is no software in the world that does not have a defect. The only thing is critical defects are not allowed into production. Critical defects are not allowed into production. With these very few points of mine, I want to throw the floor open to questions. For adventure, you had a question and then you penned it down, waiting for the end of the class. It's time to ask questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Sena.
Okay. It's not in total relation to what was taught though, but it's a general question.
Okay.
So in a company, yeah, so you are working on a product, the developers, the testers, the product managers, and the stakeholders. And the product has been built, and they are trying to demo this product to potential investors. Now, is it meant for the QA to demo this product, or rather, or the PM, that's the product manager?
Okay, so for different companies, there are different strokes for different folks, right? Ideally, it is for the product manager or the project manager to actually do the presentation. But on a second note, the QA that is a good QA at times knows the product more than the product owner and can answer more questions than the product owner. So depending on what is agreed by the company, is either the product owner is who they agreed or the project manager that they agreed to, then it's fine. If it's the QA, then it's fine. But ideally, it is the product manager that is supposed to. But in your company, and the truth of the matter is, most testers know the product more than the product owners. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other question?
Sorry, I just wanted to quickly follow up. Shadrach, do you have an objection to QA's demoing? Is there I feel there is a background to this question.
It's not like I have an objection. Just like Chuk said, it's meant to be the product manager, but most times the QA could be in a better position to have a better understanding on the particular product. So that's why he or the QA will be the one to do the demo. Because I've had encountered an issue whereby they were debating on between the QAs and PMs that demos are meant to be taken by PMs and not the QA. So I just wanted to know, like, outside the confinement of what was happening, like on a structural base, or rather on a more structural, refined environment, is it meant for the PM or the QA? Whose role is it to actually do the demo? So that's why I just wanted to get a clear understanding.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
You've gotten
thank
your
you.
answer already. Chooks has
Yeah,
answered.
yeah, he has. Thank you.
Any other question from any person? Lalikon, if you want to ask your question, I think we still have about 26 minutes or less. Lalikon, or anybody, please submit your assignments to Henry. Henry will create a Google Doc for this, where everybody can answer their questions, and then I'll get to see it. Any question from anybody? Okay, so
Someone is
if
asking
you
when, okay, you may need to recap the first assignment. I'm guessing some people joined late. Then also when it should be submitted or to who.
tomorrow is submitted tomorrow, Henry will create a Google link, a Google Doc sheet where you can answer your questions. So the first question is, I'm trying to get it again. Single style.
The first one is artifacts, probably 7 artifacts using software development apart from the ones you listed.
Thank you, David.
Well, then the second one is 3 benefits of software testing aside the listed ones.
So I think those are the two questions.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so Udeme, I'm done for the day. Thank you for having me, guys. Continue the same time tomorrow. Udeme, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shooks. Please let's give a clap, an emoji. Let's appreciate Chooks. Let's appreciate our facilitator. So I'll do a quick pop-up quiz. Let's see who's fastest fingers, who would be the first to drop. Okay, there are still questions in the chat, sorry. Are we using Google Doc to do the assignment individually and then sending the link to Henry? I'm guessing Henry is going to drop the assignment and the modalities in the Slack channel. So just hold on for Henry. He would most likely drop that information in the Slack channel. So that's for, please can the assignments be dropped in the chats? Yes, it will. Like I said, Henry is going to summarize it and the modality for submission. What's the difference between defect, bug, and a failure? Okay, Henry, there's a question for you. What's the difference between a defect, a bug, and a failure in software testing, and how are they related? Sorry, I just want to check if there are any other questions I missed. Please, can we drop the listed ones so we don't repeat? Okay, so Vivian is also asking the ones you listed, can they drop it so that they don't repeat the ones that you listed, the artifacts you listed for question 1.
Okay.
I think these are all the questions.
Okay, thank you. So for the artifacts, the link, when you get it, the ones I've mentioned will be there. It will be part of the question.
Okay. Okay, so
Then
then to Oguneye Sarah's question. What
that
if
will be dealt with in another class. So we don't jump before that. We'll answer it in the next class.
Okay. So Sarah, that's your answer to the question. All right. Parkinson and Henry, you were supposed to take attendance from this participant link. I don't want to see people mark presents that were not on the call. You were the ones that were supposed to fill the sheets based on the names on this call. So how you guys will do it? I've seen the number. If you have more people than the number, it's you guys that will answer. All right. So the pop-up quiz, just to confirm that everybody gets it. Fastest fingers. How many principles of software testing do we have? Fastest fingers, 7. Wow, 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 wow. Someone wrote 6. Who is that person? Ibrahim. Why? All right. All
It's a
right.
typo. It's mistake.
Okay, I hear you. All right, next question. Are we ready? Fastest fingers. What's the other name for pesticide paradox? The updated name for the principle of pesticide paradox. I'm seeing a rishi. Bugs wear out. Test wear out. Test do wear. Test wear out. Okay. I heard test ear out. Wow, Olaleke. Olalekan. I guess that's a typo. All right. Okay. Next question. What does ISTQB stand for? Hey, no fastest fingers for this. What does ISTQB stand for? Internations Software. Abiola,
Yes,
calm down. Internations, ke. Software testing qualification. Did somebody drop a link? International Software Testing Qualification Board. Okay, great. Okay. All right, great. Final question for the night. Should it be final question? I have a lot, but just to test our understanding. All right, that's enough for ISTQB. Okay, so next question. What was that question on software testing? Chooks, did you explain the difference between validation and verification? I stepped out.
Yes, I did.
All right, who can differentiate difference between validation and verification in software testing? There's no fastest finger in this one. No. Wow. Oga Chooks, are you sure you're not doing recap? Validation, confirm if it meets stakeholder. If it meets stakeholder, Abiola, calm down, be typing. You're typing incomplete sentences. Confirm if it meets stakeholder what? Verification meets specific requirements. Verification is checking if system meets specific requirements. Validation means so great. The first person that officially attempted to answer the question is Ibrahim Daudu. When you are asked a question to differentiate between two things, you're supposed to put them side by side. So A is this, while B is that. That's how to answer a differentiation question, right? So Ibrahim Dauda was the first person to attempt to answer that question correctly. Validation meets the system requirements and verification product requirements. Validation test if the product meets user requirements. Verification test if it meets stakeholder requirements. Validation. Wow. Akim, I know his fastest fingers. Okay. I think you might want to touch on, okay, I'm seeing it in the verification, checking whether the system meets specific requirements. Validation checks whether the system meets users and stakeholders' requirements. Okay. Okay. Validation is process of confirming that product or system meets certain requirements, while validation is process of confirming that it works as intended. Benjamin, did this definition come from you? Or Google helped? I'm just joking. All right, Chooks, are you sure you don't want to do a re-explanation of the differences, just so that everybody is on the same page?
Okay, you want me to do it now or in the next class?
Nah, just briefly. Just say
Okay, so briefly,
on that
somebody already got the answer. So according to ISTQB, right, verification actually checks to see if the product meets system requirements, while the validation checks to see if it meets the users and the stakeholders' requirements. Now, when you are verifying if an iOS app is built on an iOS platform, you are checking to see that the software meets the system requirement. The upgrade, when you're upgrading your iOS, there are some iPhone series now that can't take the latest iOS versions. So if I take iOS 16, for instance, and I take it to iPhone 6S, if the phone no blow, it will remain small. That's if at all if it installs. So you're ensuring that in verification, the system, or rather the product meets the system requirements. While in your validation, you're checking if the system meets both the users and the stakeholders' requirements. Is that clear enough?
Yes, it is. Thank you. So this will be the end of today's class. Thanks everyone. See you same time tomorrow. We're expecting close to, if we subtract the exemptions, we're expecting about 80 something people on this call, or around 80. So we have just 56. That's the highest count I've gotten. Please remind your friends who may not have checked Slack today that classes have started. See you all tomorrow. Good night. For assignments and other information, your team leads will drop it in the Slack channel. Good night. Thank you so much, Chooks.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you, then, man. Good night, everybody. Parkinson, you are raising your hand. Are we safe?
Yeah, actually safe. I wanted to say something, but I think them already called it the next, so maybe we'll pick up from there tomorrow.
All right then.